Hey, true believers. Welcome back to another episode of Good Cinema. Today, we'll be doing a 1969, a movie from 1969. It's a classic. Because you saw the thumbnail, you'll know what it is. It's Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. Because I thought we'd do this movie because the late, great Robert Redford passed away last week. One of my favorite actors. He was in a lot of good movies. He was in Barefoot in the Park, The Way That We Were, Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, The Sting, um, 3 Days of the Condor, uh, several movies. I can't even name them all, but a lot of movies. The Sting, like I said, um, Spy Game. He was in Captain America's Winter Soldier. He was in so many movies I can't name them all. Jeremiah Johnson. Another great underrated movie he did with Jane Fonda was called The Electric Horseman. If you've never seen that, I suggest you check it out. We have several still shots here from some behind the scenes stuff, and a few stills from the movie, like where Paul Newman and Catherine Ross are riding the bicycle. And I mean, you remember the famous B.J. Thomas song, "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head." Yeah, for this movie. There they are, all three of them. They had good chemistry together in this movie. And there they are. That's the scene where they jump off the cliff into the river. It's an iconic scene, especially the ending scene where they kind of go out in a blaze of glory. Here they are with some ponchos on. And there's Paul Newman. There's another one of them both. That's the end scene, I think, where they run out, It's a good movie. It's probably one of my favorite Westerns. Here's a little behind the scenes footage. And here they are playing ping pong, I guess, in between the shot when they were taking a break. Yeah, it's a good movie. I grew up watching Westerns because of my dad. And this was, me and him, was one of our favorite ones to watch. There's another favorite scene where the guy's like, that big monstrous guy, he's like real big. He's like, "I'm taking over the gang, Butch." And Paul Newman's like, "Oh, crap. Well, he says, I get he's saying this?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Well," he says, "We'll go with," he says, "now how does it start?" He goes, "Okay, when we start the pot, we'll just say 1, 2, 3, start." He says, "Somebody say 1, 2, 3, start." And Robert Redford goes, 1, 2, 3, start. And he kicks the guy right in the nuts. He's taking his shirt off, beats the crap out of him. And he's like, "Well, okay, I'll win." Losing my lights here. Hold on. Lost my light, as usual. It's all shambles again this morning. I woke up too late to be doing this show. But all right, we got it. So we can keep that down there. And I got the Wikipedia page here. We'll just get right into it because I'm tired of ad-libbing. All right. Share the Wikipedia page about Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. After I finish my coffee there. All right. Lord knows I need it. Okay. Here we go. Got this. There is the Wikipedia page. All right. Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid is a 1969 American Western buddy film directed by George Roy Hill and written by William Goldman. It's based loosely on fact. The film tells the story of Wild West outlaws Robert and Leroy Parker, known as Butch Cassidy, played by Paul Newman, and his partner, Harry Longbaugh, the Sundance Kid, played by Robert Redford, who are on the run from a crack U.S. posse after a string of train robberies. The pair and Sundance lover, at a place, played by Catherine Ross, flee to Bolivia to escape the posse. The film was released It was released yesterday, on yesterday's date. The film was released on September 24th, 1969, and it initially received lukewarm reviews from critics, but over the years, it has since garnered some retrospective reappraisal. In 2003, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally and historically or aesthetically significant. The American Film Institute, AFI, ranked Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as the 73rd greatest American film on its AFI's 100 Years, 100 Movies 10th Anniversary Edition list, and number 50 on the original list. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid were ranked 20th greatest heroes on AFI's 100 Years, 100 Heroes and Villains. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was also selected by the American Film Institute as the 7th greatest Western of all time in the AFI's Top 10 list in 2008. So the plot takes place, starts in 1899 in Wyoming. Butch Cassidy is an affable, clever, talkative leader of the outlaw Hole in the Wall gang. His closest companion is the laconic, deadshot Sundance Kid. The two return to their hideout at Hole in the Wall. Okay, the rest of the gang are kind of irked by Cassidy's long absences. Yeah, they kind of get onto him, and that's where somebody gets in that fight. So the cast is Paul Newman, Robert Redford, Catherine Ross, Strower Martin, Henry Jones, Jeffrey Corey, George Firth, Cloris Leachman, Ted Cassidy, Kenneth Mars, Donnelly Rhodes, Timothy Scott, Charles Durkop, Paul Breyer, Sam Elliott as a card player number 2. That's kind of an unnamed. Okay, I didn't know Sam Elliott was in this movie. And Jody Gilbert. He's just an extra at this point. The screenplay was written by William Golden. Okay, notice William Golden first came across the story of Butch Cassidy in the late 1950s and researched intermittently for 8 years before starting to write the screenplay. Goldman says he wrote the story as an original screenplay because he did not want to do the research to make it as an authentic novel. Goldman later stated, the whole reason I wrote the thing, there is that famous line that Scott Fitzgerald wrote, who was one of my heroes. There are no second acts in American lives. When I read about Cassidy and Longbaugh and the super posse coming after them, that's phenomenal material. They ran to South America and lived there for 8 years, and that was what thrilled me. They had a second act. The light keeps turning off. They had a second act. They were more legendary in South America than they had been in the Old West. It's a great story. Those two guys and that pretty girl going down to South America and all that stuff. It just seems to me it's a wonderful piece of material. The characters fight to South America because one executive, characters flight to South America caused one executive to reject the script, as it was then unusual in Western films for the protagonist to run away. The development of the film, according to Goldman, when he first wrote the script and sent it out for consideration, only one studio wanted to buy it, and that was with the proviso that the two lead characters did not flee to South America. When Goldman protested that was what had happened, the studio head responded, "I don't give a shit. All I know is John Wayne don't run away." So, the one thing, what I get from that quote is that there was a different time period. By 1969, hold on a minute. Just give me a minute here. Okay. By 1969 was like kind of like the new guard was starting to take over. So you started getting this is like the start of movies like Easy Rider and stuff like that. This is more of I always thought this movie was kind of like one of those counterculture movies, at the time in the late 60s, the mid and late 60s is what they call, the next generation of baby boomers were coming of age. They were trying to break away from their parents' generation, who, as we know, Tom Brokaw calls the greatest generation, who had come back from World War II, and they had all these families. So the baby boomers were trying to, do their own thing. And there was a lot of movies that were kind of bland at the time. Like in the mid-'60s, it was like there was a new guard coming in by the late 60s. And so you had movies like Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, Easy Rider, and the next few years come out. Chinatown by Roman Polanski, Harold and Maude, like different movies, like, more of like it's just like there's kind of like a love triangle in this movie with Butch and Sundance and Catherine Ross's character, really. And I don't know, it's just like kind of like, they have the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head in it by B.J. Thomas, and just it was kind of a different way. And like you have these old guys like everything's got to be like John Wayne. John Wayne, don't run away, They didn't really want to think outside the box. But by 1969, the next generation of filmmakers and actors were coming into their own. And they were not going to play by the old Hollywood rules. They were going to do what they wanted. And that's how you got movies that's how you got like Dennis Hopper making Easy Rider with Peter Fonda, right? Dennis Hopper directed, starred, and wrote the movie with Peter Fonda. And that the old Hollywood was kind of like wary of that stuff. You know what I mean? They still wanted to hold on to like, John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart, who, I like Jimmy Stewart and all, but, Goldwyn rewrote the script, changed it more than a few pages, and subsequently found that every studio wanted it. The role of Sundance was offered to Jack Lemmon, whose production company, JML, had produced the film, Cool Hand Luke, in 1967, starring Paul Newman. Lemmon, however, turned down the role because he did not like riding horses and felt that he had already played too many aspects of the Sundance Kid's character before. Other actors considered for the role for Sundance were Steve McQueen and Warren Beatty, who both turned it down, with Beatty claiming that the film was too similar to Bonnie and Clyde. According to Goldman, McQueen and Newman both read the scripts at the same time and agreed to do the film. McQueen eventually backed out of the film due to disagreements with Newman. Those two had a big rivalry. All throughout the years, they were always very competitive with each other, and they sometimes didn't see eye to eye, but they were friends. But they had kind of those like rivalry friendships. So, but later on, the two actors did team up for the 1974 disaster film, The Towering Inferno. And of course, if you remember early and mid 70s, disaster movies were all the rage. You had The Poseidon Adventure, The Towering Inferno, Airport 77. Earthquake, all these crappy movies, and they'd have like these ensemble casts, full of old Hollywood stars. Anyway, Redford took the role as he liked the script, so Jacqueline Bisset was the top contender for the role of Etta Place, but I guess they got Catherine Ross eventually. Then the filming locations included the ghost town of Grafton, Zion National Park, Snow Canyon State Park, and the city of St. George. These areas remain popular film tourism destinations, including the Cassidy Trail and Red Canyon. The soundtrack, Burt Bacharach and Hal David wrote the song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head for the film. Some felt the song had the wrong tone for a Western, but George Roy Hill, the director, insisted on its inclusion. Robert Redford, one of the stars of the film, was among those who disapproved of using the song, though he later acknowledged that he was wrong. When the film was released, I was highly critical. How did the song fit the film? There was no rain at the time. It seemed like a dumb idea. How wrong I was, as it turned out to be a giant hit. All right, so here's the release of the film. The world premiere of Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid was on September 23rd, 1969, at the Roger Sherman Theater in New Haven, Connecticut. The premiere was attended by Paul Newman, his wife Joanne Woodward, Robert Redford, George Roy Hill, William Goldman, and John Foreman, among others. It opened the next day in New York City at the Penthouse and Sutton Theaters. The film became available on DVD on March 16, 2000, in a special edition that is also available on VHS. So here's the box office and reception. The The film grossed $82,625 in its opening week from 2 theaters in New York City. The following week, it expanded and became the #1 film in the United States and Canada for 2 weeks. It went on to earn $15 million. Now, keep in mind, this is like 1969. This movie went on to earn $15 million in theatrical rentals in the United States and Canada by the end of 1969. According to Fox Records, the film required $13.8 million in rentals to break even. And by December 11, 1970, it had made $36.8 million. So made considerable profit in the studio. It eventually returned $45.9 million in rentals. With a final gross of over $100 million, it was the top grossing film released in 1969. And it was the eighth most popular film of 1970 in the country of France. Now we have the critical response here. It was kind of lukewarm at first for some of these critics. After release, reviewers gave the film mediocre grades. And the New York and national reviews were mixed to terrible. Although better elsewhere. Screenwriter William Goldman recalled in his book, Which Lie Did I Tell? More Adventures in the Screen Trade. New York Times films reviewer Vincent Canby wrote that the film is very funny in a strictly contemporary way, but said that at the heart of the film there is a gnawing emptiness that can't be satisfied by an awareness that Hill and Goldman knew exactly what they were doing, making a very slick movie. He described the raindrop sequence as part of an effort to play tricks on the audience by taking shortcuts to lyricism. The performers, Canby wrote, succeeded, although the movie does not. A Time magazine reviewer said the film's 2 male stars are afflicted with cinematic schizophrenia. One moment they are sinewy, battered remnants of a discarded tradition. The next they are low comedians whose chafing relationships and dialogue could have been lifted from a Batman and Robin episode. Time criticized the raindrop sequence and the scat singing soundtrack by Burt Bacharach as most capricious, which it said made the film absurd and anachronistic. Roger Ebert scored the film at 2.5 out of 4. He praised its beginning and the 3 lead actors, but felt it progressed too slowly and had an unsatisfactory ending. Even though that's how it ended. That's how it ended in real life. After Harriman hires his posse, though, Ebert thought the quality declined. He apparently spent a lot of money to take his company on location for these scenes, and I guess when we got back to Hollywood, he couldn't bear to edit them out of the final version, so the super posse chases our heroes unceasingly until we've long since forgotten how well the movie started. Ebert reaffirmed his review in 1989, stating that he still thought it was a turkey and was baffled by its success. Yeah, Roger Ebert doesn't know shit. Gene Siskel was also not a big fan of the film, stating that he thought it was predictable and that it was too cute to be believed, not memorable. Siskel later admitted in 1989 that publishing his negative review was one of the first challenges as a film critic, recalling that the editorial assistant was shocked that he was giving a bad review to a film starring Paul Newman and would give him a lesson that he had to be honest as a critic, no matter how unpopular his opinion. Well, I don't know why everybody didn't like these critics, that just goes to show you about critics and movie critics. That's what they are. They are critics. They are not fans. They're not the people that go and watch these movies, and it doesn't matter what the critic really says. If you can put butts in the theater seat, you probably have a good movie. But I digress. But yeah, it was like as you can see, a lot of time you'll see here on Good Cinema that some of these movies get bad reviews by these people like Siskel and Ebert and the New York Times and Time Magazine or whoever, LA Times, New York Times. And critics are not the be all, the end all be all of taste, of good taste. You know what I mean? Sometimes they miss the mark, especially when you have a wildly popular film as this one was. But there you go. That was our factoids about the movie. And we're going to play some clips here in a minute. But I think we showed the still shots, right? All right, I showed them. There you go. There they go. That's at the end of the movie. I know a lot of people didn't like the end of the movie because they run out. Okay, at the end, spoiler alert, well, this movie's like 50 years old or so. 60 years old at this point. I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty old. Came out in 1969. Hey, John. How you doing? We're talking about Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. We're going to play a few clips here from the movie. Kind of get into it here. Okay, here's the first scene. This is funny because Paul Newman's like casing the bank, and this is like the movie's kind of like takes place in 1899, so the West is changing, right? So Butch and Cassidy are still wanting to rob banks and trains, and steal cash boxes off of trains, and that time's slowly coming to an end in the United States. You can get away with that stuff like they were, like hard and heavy, like they were doing. And he goes there, cases his bank, and he realizes they've changed everything. He goes, well, what happened to the old bank? I thought it was so pretty.
What happened to the old bank? It was beautiful.
People kept robbing it.
It's a small price to pay for beauty.
Small price to pay for beauty. And all right, we'll play another clip here. I think there's a scene that I like where Butch and Sundance. You never see the movie? Hey, I highly recommend it. If you like Westerns, I mean. If you don't like Westerns, you probably won't like it, but I'm a big Western fan. Well, there's a scene at the first of it where, Paul Newman and Robert Redford, who plays the Sundance Kid. Sundance Kid is playing poker with this guy. The guy accuses him of cheating. And he's like accusing him of cheating. And, of course, Robert Redford takes exception to this. And here's part of the scene where he kind of punks this guy out totally. And Paul Newman's kind of like, it's like, he's like helping him out. You're like, oh no, man, I don't know, kid. You might want to stay away from this guy, knowing that Sundance could just like gun him down at any moment.
What would you think about maybe asking us to stick around?
What?
You don't have to mean it or anything. Just ask us to stick around. I promise you.
He said, I promise you. And he's like trying to tell the guy, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, well, then you wouldn't like it then, John. If you don't like Westerns, you wouldn't like the movie. I don't know. It's kind of a funny movie, though. Outlaws are in Montana, Wyoming.
Well,
and
we seem to be a little short on brotherly love around here.
If you're with him, you better get yourselves out of here.
We're on our way.
And the guys keeps continuing like he's going to take the Sundance Kid, but the Sundance fastest, most accurate guns in the West.
I didn't know you were the Sundance Kid when I said you were cheating. If I draw on you, you'll kill me. Is that possible?
And then the last part of this scene, and we'll be over this scene.
I'm over the hill, but it can't happen to you. That's just what I want to hear. Every day you get older. Now, that's a law.
And there's another scene where the guys like they're fighting. I wish I had that scene. Hey, there's Will. Well, this movie's kind of like a counterculture movie almost back then. It was kind of outside the box Western, John. By the way, that's what I was trying to say when I lost my train of thought. And it's got like actually got a modern song in it. I know, and I'm sure you heard the song, John. And I'm sure everybody that's watching has heard the song. Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, sung by B.J. Thomas, written by Burt Bacharach. It was this movie helped popularize that song. And we got W. Boggs 18 in there. Thanks, W. Boggs. So anyway, at the first of it, you can hear Paul Newman's always talking about the first of the movie, how, kid, we can't rob these trains anymore. They, there's a lot of good tongue-in-cheek humor in this. He's like wanting to go to Bolivia. He said, we can go to Bolivia. Nobody knows us down there. We can get the hell out of here because, all the law everywhere knows us.
You just keep thinking, Butch. That's what you're good at.
Boy, I got vision and the rest of the world wears bifocals.
Boy, I got vision and the rest of the world's wearing bifocals. Cool. Well, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see you open it. Let me know if you're on there tonight. I have a live stream tonight at 7 o'clock.
Stop it. Where? Up ahead there.
That's old Butch himself.
That's where they kind of run the train down and make him stop it. And then they blow open the train door. There's a guy there, Woodcock. He keeps coming back. He won't open the door. So come on, Woodcock, open the door. He's like, I can't do that. They're paying me to keep you from taking the money. And then Paul Newman's like, they come in there, they kind of knock. He gets knocked out by the concussion of the dynamite blast. And Paul Newman's run over to him and hey, Woodcock.
Hey, Woodcock. Hey, Woodcock, you all right? Hey.
He says, and I like this part. He goes, whatever they're paying you to protect this railroad ain't enough, brother.
Whatever Harriman's paying you ain't enough.
Oh, Redford's in the movie. Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, Redford and Paul Newman. This is their first movie they starred in together. They also notably starred in The Sting together, which is another one of my favorite Paul Newman movies. And then he get introduced to Catherine Ross. She's the love interest of Robert Redford's character, the Sundance Kid. And but Paul Newman's friends with her too, and he comes over to visit them, and he brings this new invention called a bicycle.
Meet the future.
Do you know what you're doing?
Theoretically.
Like I said, you know what you're doing? He said, theoretically. So then we got some more scenes here. This is funny. They robbed the train, right? So the law enforcement people, the sheriff, is trying to go get a posse to go out and look for them, but they're hanging out at this bar at the I think the whorehouse or something on the balcony, looking down at them while the sheriff tries to raise a posse, and all the people in the posse are like, "Oh hell, I don't want to go out there and fight these guys again."
I say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and enemies, meet the...
We got some more scenes. Then they go to another bank, and another train here in a minute, and it's hilarious what happens.
You are mine in the place. Mine. You hear me? Mine.
Think you use enough dynamite there, Butch?
They blow the train explodes, and he's like, and they get knocked on their ass. He goes, "You think you used enough dynamite there, bud?" So then they just blow he goes, "Is that they got to be enough to do it?" It just blows the whole damn thing off. And then they realize posse that was on train there with detectives. And so they have to start running here. They're trying to lose them, but they can't lose
You
them.
think we lost him?
No.
Neither do I.
And these guys just follow them unmercifully.
Hey, Butch,
What?
they're very good.
Yeah, they keep realizing, man, these guys are I ain't to play. They're not like local the local sheriff's
I couldn't
department.
do that. Could you do that? How can they do that? Who are those guys?
He's like, they're still being pursued into the nighttime, and he's like, we'll go over the rocks, and they won't be able to track us on the rocks. And he said, I can't do that. Can you do that? So they can't believe these guys can still track them on the rocks, and they're still like just unmercifully chasing them.
We get outside. We get to the horses.
And okay, these scenes are all out of order, unfortunately. And so they get pursued up to the mountaintop, and they decide to jump off this big ravine into a river. But let me play some more clips here. Like this is where he goes, "Hey kid,
The next time I say let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia. Next time.
he's like, next time I say let's go to a place like Bolivia, let's go to a place like Bolivia."
That's what happens when you live 10 years alone in Bolivia. You get colorful.
And so they're like getting ready to jump off. So that scene didn't have nothing to do with this. But there's the scene where they're like looking down at this big cliff, and there's a river down below. It's real high up. And Paul Newman's like, we're going to jump. And Robert Redford's like, no, I'm not jumping, man. I'm staying right here and fighting them. We're just going to fight to the death. And he says, don't be an idiot. He says, why didn't you want to jump? And he said, I can't swim, okay? And then Paul Newman says probably the funniest line in the movie, in my opinion.
Why, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
He said, are you crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
Crazy? The fall will probably kill you.
I love that scene. I love that scene. So anyway, they go to Bolivia, and they try to go straight at one point down there, and they're like trying to protect the gold shipment with Strower Martin, with a character played by Strower Martin. And they get hit by outlaws, as you saw in this clip
That's
that I played
what
earlier.
happens when you live 10 years alone in Bolivia. You get colorful.
And he gets killed. They try to take the gold, and the gold doesn't they have to kill these bandits to get it back, and they get accused of robbing it. They get accused of robbing the gold shipments that they were protecting.
Well, we've gone straight.
It says, tell them to
Leave the money and go.
and then they have to shoot the guys, and then
Well, we've gone straight. What do we try now?
and they had to shoot the guys. And he's like, well, we've gone straight. So then they get the end of the movie is the famous scene. They get pinned down in this house in Bolivia, and the Bolivian army's outside ready to kill them all, and they're wounded, and they're like, man, I can't fight anymore. And they said, let's just go out there and we'll try to get to the horses. And they know they're not going to make it. And you get the scene where they run out at the end, and they freeze frame with them running out of the house, and then you hear the gunshots. And you don't see them get killed, but you know that they probably died.
We get outside. We get to the horses. Just remember one thing. Hey, wait a minute. What? You didn't didn't see the fours out there, did you?
So anyway, that ends like that. It just ends with and it ends with this freeze frame here. I'll show you. This is the last scene you see. They run out like this right here shooting, and then the screen freezes to this picture, and the movie ends. End credits, end title sequence song. And that's the end of the movie. Well, it's either this. You're either going to get shot to death or you're going to jump. I don't know which one you want to do, but at least they had the odds like, yeah. But he's like, yeah. He says, yeah, the fall will probably kill you, dumbass. Which I think is a hilarious thing. I just think that line's great. And like I said, this movie was, this takes me back to watching movies with my dad on a Sunday evening, watching Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. And I guess since I guess nobody else is going to show up, I'll just give you my review. And I give this one 2 big thumbs up. This is a great movie. I don't know. I suggest if you've never seen this movie to watch it. I mean, if you don't like Westerns, you might not like it, but you might like it. You never know. But I guess it's time to reveal. Next week is Halloween, start of Halloween month on Good and Bad Cinema. Hold on, we got comments here. All right, you see me tonight, Will. Yeah, this movie's great, Jeff. So anyway, like I said, next week kicks off Halloween month on Good and Bad Cinema. And here's the lineup of movies that we will be covering. For Good Cinema, we'll be covering Fright Night, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Halloween, directed by John Carpenter, and Poltergeist, directed by Toby Hooper. For Bad Cinema, and then Fright Night will be there too. For Good Cinema, for Bad Cinema, we'll be reviewing Sleepaway Camp, The Howling Part 2, My Sister is a Werewolf, Trick or Treat, Return of the Living Dead, and Chopping Mall. And so next week on Bad Cinema, at Monday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be reviewing the 1986 cult horror classic Chopping Mall. So we'll shop till we drop together with that one. It's a pretty crazy movie. It's kind of fun. It's kind of a fun slasher movie. With these robots are supposed to be security. They take over the mall and start killing people. It's crazy. So then next Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we will be reviewing Bram Stoker's Dracula for Good Cinema, starring Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Carrie Ewells, Tom Waits plays Renfield in it, and Anthony Hopkins is Van Helsing, Dr. Van Helsing. Heck yeah! You're welcome to all of them. Okay, Jeff gives it 2 thumbs up. And Jean Below says the only movie I remember watching with my dad was the original Frankenstein when I was like 5 years old. Well, that's cool. So don't forget, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Comic Lounge. Everybody can come hang out if they want to. All of you guys are invited, so just drop by. You know that. You guys are always invited. And then, of course, Sunday, we have the Sunday Super Show Extravaganza. And I'm thinking about coming up with another show. I just don't know yet. And also another thing that before I go is next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for Comic Conversations. My guest will be Geek Out with Roscoe, another great guy I met at Heroes Con. And one last thing before we go, I keep forgetting to do this, but this is my channel members. I'd like to thank all of you for being channel members. Appreciate it. And you don't have to be a channel member, but if you want to, it's only 99 cents. You get some custom emojis, and we do a monthly giveaway. And I will be doing that monthly giveaway next week on We might do it this. No, we'll do it next Sunday. We'll do the monthly giveaway next Sunday, and I'll be giving away a copy of Image Skybound's graphic novel Transformers Volume 1, collected the first 6 issues of Transformers, written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. So you might want to get in on that if you've not read Transformers. I highly suggest it. So I'll be giving that away. Yeah, the Energon universe is just great. It's one of the greatest things out there right now in comics. And Jeff said he will definitely drop by for the Comic Lounge. I appreciate that. I like seeing you. Everybody have a great day. And you know what? I don't know what else to say except remember, we're going to keep reviewing these movies every week. But like, Uncle Stan used to say, back in the day, until next time, true believers,
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Zod! Snitchy boochies.